Uh, Today's lecture is about answer writing for grade B. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, uh, you must know the word limit and the time you have. Okay, in case of RBI Grade B, in descriptive questions they give you for descriptive question they give you 90 minutes. Okay, and in those 90 minutes you have to cover four questions, two questions of 400 words and two questions of 600 words. Okay, they give one compulsory question and one optional question. Okay, so that compulsory and optional thing is not in our hand. What we know is that we you have to write 800 words and 1200 total 2000 words, and not write, you have to type it. Okay, so if you divide it, then approximately for each question of 600 marker 600 words, you will have 27 minutes. And for 400 words question, you will have 18 minutes. Okay. And like many people who have given that RBI were not able to attend all the cross the word limit or to reach the word limit. Okay. But keep in mind that around 10% variation is permissible. Okay. Do not go much beyond that. Like for 600 words, if you are writing around 400 words only, or for 400 words you are writing 300 words only, then it will be a negative thing. Okay, and your marks will be deducted. Up to 10% it is permissible. Okay, and it is very difficult to cover all the questions in the given time. Like if you are good in at typing, like around 20 to 25 words per minute speed will be required. So if you are good at typing, then it is okay. If you are not, then start practicing this thing like ASDF and whatever the nomenclature of typing now. Get a keyboard. Do not do it on the laptop or that mobile phone. Okay, get a keyboard and start typing on that. It will increase your speed. Okay, and one thing is that like after writing your answer, normally people do that proofreading. Okay, so according to you, how much time you will require to for proofreading in case of descriptive answers, or can you will you be able to do the proofreading or not? What do you think?
No, sir.
Like my experience say that you will not get enough time even to complete your answers. So proofreading will not be possible. Okay, if you follow the word limits. Okay, so what can you do? And because in case of essay and English paper, you need to do the proofreading. Okay, otherwise your marks will be deducted. Any mistake will get you negative marks. But in this case, like mainly content and structure will matter more. Secondly, you will not get enough time, so just try to focus while typing. Okay, spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes of grammar, etc. should not be done by you while typing the answer in the first space. Okay, just like focus is the only thing which can save you from the that proofreading thing. Okay, and if you are good at typing, then you may get around 2-3 minutes for each question for proofreading. Okay, and like you have 27 minutes now, and try to complete it by in 25 minutes. Okay, and if like time expires, like 25 minutes gone, at max stretch it to 1 or 2 minutes. But like if you take it to 30 minutes and next question to 20 minutes and next question to 30 minutes, you will have only 10 minutes left for one 400 marker. Don't do it. Like those who have cleared UPSC or who has given UPSC must know that time management for each question they have around 7 minutes only, 7.5 minutes. Okay, like if 25 questions are there, so in that time limit they have to complete the answer, otherwise the last questions will not be properly attended. Okay, so keep in mind, right now if you are not following the time limit, then it is not a big problem because abhi content development ka time hai. But in like slowly you have to develop practice of writing fast answer. Okay, next thing, now structuring and other things of the answer. Okay, there are two main pillars of writing a good answer. One is content, which is your knowledge. Okay, how can you get it? By just systematic reading and extraction of the fact and out of the material. Okay, you have to convert data into information. Data is like too much of the data or figures and other things. You have to convert it into information, that is particular things which you are gonna be right in the answer. Okay, so that information, like suppose you have read economic survey. Okay, it contains numerous facts. Okay, just take the prime things out of that economic survey. Suppose like a GDP rate of India in the previous year was this percent GDP growth rate. Just write it down and mention it in your answer that according to economic survey of 21-22, GDP growth rate was this much. Okay, suppose the question is on industrial output. Okay, or say service sector contribution in the economy of India, then remember the share of service sector. Okay, now one question may arise that what to cover, how to cover, and how much to cover. Okay, then just keep in mind the syllabus. Okay, from each topic you need at least one or two facts which will be useful for writing your introduction. Never write a plain introduction, that is without any name, without any definition, without any data, without any figure. Okay, it will give the impression that you do not know much about the topic. Okay, we will see in the next slide about introduction. So first thing is content. Okay, and for it note making and revising is the most important part. Okay, and this thing you have to cover on your own. Like I can provide or anyone can provide you notes, but from that all data, which information, which things are information as per you, it will be decided by you only. We are providing very precise material anyways. Still you just search around the things and note down your points. Okay, and second thing is structure. Okay, like suppose you are going to give any interview, you have too much of knowledge, but you are not dressed up properly, or you went by after wearing t-shirts and jeans only, then the first impression will be very bad. Okay, similarly, even if your content is very good, the person who is examining or evaluating your notebook, your answer sheet, will see the flow of your answer. He will see the structure of your answer. And if your answer is not properly structured, it will be very difficult for him or her to evaluate your answer. Okay, how will he judge some particular, like first point you have written very well, thereafter you have written some another point, thereafter without any linkage you have written third point, then you will not be able to like relate the things. Okay, and in the end he will give you less marks or average marks only. Okay, so structure is about how one presents one's answer. Okay, it increases readability, understandability, and flow of the answer. Okay, the flow is very important. It eases the task of evaluator to give you marks. Okay, structure is not for you, it is for the evaluator कि हाँ भाई उसको अच्छे से दिख रहा है, he is able to understand what you are trying to convey. Okay, so two pillars both are very important. Content is the thing which will develop in some time frame, but structure is a shortcut. Okay, even if you do not know the content but you know how to write, then you can get at least average marks. Okay, presentation is very important. That is why you have seen that in case of like UPSC, many of the graduates who have studied from Shriram College got selected, but many of the chartered accountants failed because in chartered accountancy they mainly focus on content only. Okay, they know that they need to write a question and reach to the answer, But in case of SRCC or any university of DU, they teach them how to present their answer. Okay, so it is also very important to know how to structure your answer. Okay, then we come to the structure. Structure has three parts. First is introduction, second is body, and third is conclusion. Okay, for introduction, around 10% of word limit you should spend on the introduction. Not too much, not too less. Okay, and it is not necessary, and it is not like um, advisable to write first introduction and then start writing paragraph. Just start your question, and presumably the person who is checking knows that the first paragraph you have written is your introduction. Okay, no need to write the word introduction while writing contents of the introduction. Okay, in case of introduction, it is very important to quote any thinker or personality, or write any definition, or factually correct data is very important. Just data is not enough. And if you are faking something, then fake it in the way that it is not like understood by the examiner. Okay, like suppose कुछ figure ऐसा लेके आ गए, like if you write fake figure of economic survey, latest economic survey, then there is a possibility that the person must know that the person must have read the economic survey. Okay, and you have quoted 7% while the actual growth was 5%. Then he just crossed the thing कि इसने गलत लिखा है. But like if something is not about current growth rate, you may write growth of previous year and quote the economic survey of previous year. Okay, or something is about like livestock. Okay, in case of NABARD, or in case of RBI, suppose inflation, like one question is was asked in the NABARD mains, that what is capital formation in India? Okay, and some related questions. So it was question which was based from the economic survey of latest economic survey. Okay, but it was compulsory question, and if you know nothing about it, and you have to write something, like I remembered economic survey of 1819. Okay, so I wrote answer based on that data only. Okay, you cannot leave the answer blank. You have to write something. Then prepare your mind that at least one or two questions will be there in which you have to write like out of the blue. Okay, without any prior information, a situation may arise. Okay, so you must have factually correct data, quotation of authentic documents like economic survey or budget, and that thing must relate directly to your answer. Like if you are not able to relate it with your answer, then it may be a possibility that the examiner will know that you are just faking it and cross the entire question. Okay, it happens in essays case, especially if in beginning you deviate totally from the topic of the essay, they have the right to give you 0 marks. Okay, so even if you do not know any thinker, even if you do not know any personality, definition, factually data, at least write something which conveys that yes, you are able to understand what is asked in the question. Okay, do not write any rubbish that yes, I know this fact, that is why I am quoting this fact, even if it is not related to the question. Okay, then it is the introduction. Then main body of the answer, it will cover around 75 to 80% of the word limit. Like you can keep it in your brain that 80% of 400 words is 320 words, so you need to write around this word only. And while typing your answers, while doing the practice, just keep in mind that thing that while introduction, word limit will be written there, that how much words you have written while you will be answering in the question in the exam. So just till 40 words you have written introduction, then you need to come to the next paragraph. Okay, and remember that up to 360 words you have written, you have completed your body part, and last 40 words are for conclusion. Okay, divide the question in parts as per the requirement of the question. Okay, and suppose Um, like a question asked is what is suppose like I yesterday I have given question on communication. Okay, like what are the barriers of communication and how to overcome the these hurdles and other things. Okay, so main part, first question is what is communication. Okay, it doesn't require too much of explanation. Okay, but hurdles and how to overcome those hurdles, it they require substantial portion of your answer. Okay, so divide these two parts equally. Do not give too much weight to the hurdles and very less weight to the out overcoming those hurdles. Okay, so divide, give each part equal weight time wise and word wise. Okay, and do not do this type of mistake, like like you have addressed one part very beautifully, second part also good, and in question there were three parts, and in the end you realize that one part is missing and you left it untouched. Okay, because in question the marks division is based on the your entire answer. Like for introduction, suppose question is of 10 marks, then for introduction they will give 2 marks, for conclusion they will give 2 marks, and for body they give 6 marks. Okay, and question has three main parts, then 2 marks each. Okay, so if you have written everything beautifully and this part you have missed, then at max you will get 8 marks only. It is also not possible to get that much marks, but at max 8 marks will be there, and this 2 marks will be deducted because you have not addressed any particular part. Okay, and this thing, uh, there is less chance that you may face this situation that the question is not divided in the clear terms. Okay, like suppose any statement of any philosopher is given and they ask you to evaluate the same. Okay, then it will be a difficult thing. Okay, and it will become subjective to a certain extent. Okay, like any general statement is given, then break it into more meaningful parts as per logic and your judgment. Okay, and then start addressing each part. It will be better that you, like, in this type of question, give 1 or 2 minutes to structure your answer only. Like if direct question is asked, like that of communication, or like that the question which I have asked in first question I have asked in the group, then it is okay, then you can just start writing answers. But if some statement is given, then you need to frame in your mind that the what are the points you are going to cover, like, and make those points like a big heading of those points, and then write in between those heads. Okay, so like when we I will post some other questions in which this type of question will be covered. There at that time we will see that how are you writing and if you are doing any mistake or not. Okay, then conclusion, again 10 to 15 percent of words is to be given to conclusion. Do not write conclusion as head, and you may write that to conclude. uh, when starting your paragraph you may write that to conclude the above thing we may infer, or we may say that agar this type of thing was done by Rohit in his answer. Okay, it is the right way, but do not write conclusion explicitly. Okay, if the question demanded, or you are writing on your own the way forward. Okay, way forward, like in suppose in question it is asked that the also write way forward to the given problem. Okay, then you may write it a separate head. Okay, and if some problem is asked in the question, then it is advisable to give some way forward on your own. Okay, suppose there are problems of illiteracy in India. Okay, you discuss everything about what is illiteracy and other things. Okay, quoted report of some survey, and on body part also you are covered good. Then it will be advisable that if you can write way forward, that how will you overcome the problem of illiteracy, it will be a good sign. Okay, so it is advisable to write way forward with positive outlook, and if some problem is asked in the question. Okay, and while concluding, do not mention anything new. Okay, conclusion is what whatever you have told in the previous part, you are just concluding the same. Okay, it is not a place to write something new. And always try to write your answer on a positive note. Okay, especially in case of government policies and other thing. Never do criticize too much, criticize government policy. Okay, after all, you are trying to get into a government organization. Okay, like many of you must have clear vision that the particular scheme of the government is very bad and is not useful at all. Okay, it is even creating many problems. Even after that, do not mention that it is a problematic thing. Just mention what are the solutions to the problem the particular problem has. Okay, and even if you are asked to critically examine the problem, in that scenario you have to write more negative points. We will discuss it in the next slide. Even after that, try to mention some positive points. Okay, like government, by default it is assumed that government cannot frame any scheme which is totally negative. Someone must be benefited through the scheme, and that someone must be from vulnerable section of the society. It is assumed thing which you need to keep in mind while writing any answer. Okay, and like that body part, there are many ways to beautify this body part. Okay, we will discuss it with example. Just hold on. Just a minute. Yes. So there is a question like what are the objectives of Indian industrial policy? Uh, just tell according to you. Like it is not the main. The actual answer is not required. In general, just think what may be the objectives of Indian industrial policy or service policy or anything. Okay, one by one, try to give me some points. Suppose this question asked in the exam, you know nothing about the Indian industrial policy, and you need to write the answers. Then what can be the objectives of Indian industrial policy? One by one, please start.
Favoring the investment,
Okay. Okay, next.
More job opportunities and a generation of employment,
Okay.
socio-economic development,
to support the idea of Atmanirbhar.
Atmanirbhar Bharat. This term na use in all the things. Atmanirbhar Bharat. ठीक है. And
To
other
support,
points.
to support entrepreneurship,
Very good. And economic growth.
economic growth, and making India stand at the international level.
Great.
it support Make in India policy also of the government.
Nice. You guys have plenty of points. It will be not a difficult thing for you to write the answer. Similarly, increase competitiveness, making India net exporter, and improving that current account deficit problem, improving that may be a thing. Or one more important thing is reduce.
Supporting MSME,
Exactly, good. Reducing that reduce regional disparities. like government promotes industries in the areas which are normally backward. Okay, that is how it can reduce regional disparities. So, while introduction, you can write that government of India has launched new industrial policy in that particular year. Okay, which aims to uh, uh, get industrial output to that level, or something you have written in the introduction. Okay, introduction will depend upon your knowledge and your notes. Now, in case of that objectives, if you write 11 points or 13 points in this manner, it is also okay. But suppose you are able to write in some more visible, more structured way. How can you do it? Like suppose you can write it as short term, medium term, long term. Or suppose you have only, like, you are not able to bifurcate between these things, or these things, three things can be written in this way also. Okay, immediate, intermediate, and ultimate. Or you want some other type of bifurcation, it can be primary or secondary. Okay, so all these points can be covered in any, at least any of the three. Okay, like job opportunity and employment can be termed in short term. Okay, favoring investment can be termed in short term as well as in medium term. Okay, socio-economic development is long term. Atmanirbhar Bharat is all the three, but long term is more better. In that way, short term. Okay, so though there is no clear cut bifurcation among the topics, but the person who will be examining your notebook, your answer, will also not have that much time that he will check each and everything, that whether you have classified it in the proper head or not. He will just see that you have bifurcated in these terms: short term, medium term, long term, and he will have in his mind that yes, this person, this fellow has a great idea about the problem and about the objectives of the particular policy. Okay, it is more informal things, it is formal things, so you can write any of the above. Like, it is normally immediate, intermediate, and ultimate is unique type of bifurcation. And if you do not have three, want to bifurcate into three, then you can primary or secondary, or you may do any other bifurcation you like. What I want to say, whenever you are framing any answer, write down some particular prototype or samples, that yes, in this type of question I will write answer in this format. Okay, so it is first example. Second is like how to tackle differences. It is not among the people, or like if question is asked about write differences between the two theory, or between the any two things. Okay, so it is not a exhaustive list. Like, you just remember these points. Okay, in any two things, what differences can be there? First is of meaning, then nature, then requirement, objective, scope, applicability, emphasis, perspective, and focus. Okay, you can add other points also. Any one of you want to add? 10th. Sorry, I'm very fast in this because अभी तो ये पढ़ रहे होगे, उसके बाद और दिमाग लगाओगे. But when you get this slide ना, add on the points, take it to the 15 or 16, because in exam you may not be able to remember everything. And if you are able to remember the 10 points, then remember just those 10 points. Okay, it is always advisable to remember the points chronologically, so that in the exam, even if you miss one point na, you know that you have missed one point and you will come back to that point after some time. Like, try to remember the points chronologically and set chronology as per your रिक्वायरमेंट कि हाँ, तुमको अगर ऐसे याद हो सकता है तो याद करो उसको, कोड बनाओ एंड रिमेंबर द थिंग्स. ओके, सो it is like how to tackle differences. So this type of these heads can be used to write answer of any differences. Similarly, if anything asked about any initiative of the government, then you may write the following heads, that it is not necessary to write name of the head in this case. Okay, but while you're writing your answers, you may write that this initiative was this thing was initiated by the particular authority which comes under the particular ministry. Okay, for this initiative, eligibility criteria is this much of age, and persons who are below poverty line can only avail the benefits under the initiative. Okay, then what are the areas covered? It is also not an exhaustive list. You may add your point to the list. Okay, but what I am trying to say, just remember that these type of things now, these type of structure, if you make beforehand, then they will be very, very useful for you in the examination. Okay, and this type normally in other examination it said +1 marks. Okay, for anything innovative you write which directly relates to the answer or helps to simplify your structure will give you 1 more marks than the others, okay, who are writing the same content. So always focus on this +1 marks and structure your answer in this type of format. Okay, similarly, if any particular theory of management has been asked in the question, okay, first of all, definition of that concept, use the name of the thinker who has given that particular theory, and any other precise information available to you about the theory. Suppose he has propounded the theory in particular year and you know the year, then never miss to write that particular year while writing the answer. Okay, it will give a positive impact that yes, that person knows that much in detail. Okay, secondly, after writing definition, just write the main content of the theory. Okay, these two things are important because in general, normally everyone misses this thing. Okay, why? Because while reading the theory, no one focuses on that aspect since it was not written in the textbooks. Okay, first is implications of the for the manager. Like every theory of management has been propounded just to give a helpful hand to the managers of any company or any division or any thing. Okay, so suppose you are reading theory X theory Y of McGregor, okay, or any theory of motivation or leadership, then write this thing in the head that what this theory implies for the manager, like what how this theory is useful for the manager. Or you may also write what is the present day use of the theory. You may write any of it, need not to write both of it because you will fall short of time. So at least write one of it. Okay, and implication for manager is more preferred. Okay, and present day uses are more preferred in case of latest theories, like suppose a 360-degree appraisal system. Okay, or one bell curve is there. Okay, it is also used in appraisal system. I don't think it will be covered in your syllabus, like, but it is a latest theory. Okay, similarly, for organizational structure, one's name is amoeba structure. Okay, amoeba that in science you must have read. Okay, कि वो any particular shape नहीं होता है उसका. So in case of organization जहाँ पे particular hierarchy नहीं होती है, that is called as amoeba structure. Okay, so that kind of things if asked in the question, then use present day uses. Otherwise, normally write implication for the manager. Okay, and then conclude your answer with writing something positive about the theory. Okay, that suppose you have read many criticism of theory of you must have motivational theory of Herzberg or Maslow. Okay, then just write that every theory is product of its time. Okay, since it was the first theory of management, we cannot expect too much of that. Okay, this theory gave the base for other thinkers to develop their theories. Okay, so always try to write something positive at the end about the theory. Okay, so it is also a structure. Okay, so what I did, I just gave you examples of some particular structures. Okay, you need to keep in mind these examples and frame more and more structures. That structure part will help you a lot in your in writing the answers. Okay, then there's some question nomenclature, like in the end, suppose a statement is given and in the end it is given that describe, or some particular term is given and it is written that define the term. Okay, so this nomenclature is used. Practically, it is very difficult to bifurcate in, like, some are very clear that what you need to do, but some are very that the line between the two terms are very thin, that it will be very difficult for you to bifurcate the same. Similar, at the same time, you will not have that much of data and details that you can use to write whatever exactly asked in the question. Okay, even persons from UPSC background do not go much detail into the terms, though, like, suppose there it is written that comment or enumerate, then you have to follow the nomenclature. But, like, you cannot do too much differentiation between describe and elaborate. Okay, so just read these terms. Okay, and if possible, try to use according to the terms given in the question. What are the terms? First is define. Define is clear, no doubt. You have to give the precise meaning of the subject matter of the question. Okay, and if you know more than one meaning, then write all the meanings you know. Okay, not all the meanings, at least one or two meanings you can write. Okay, and it will give impression that yes, you are very familiar with the concept and know the things in detail. Okay, and to justify your definition, you may write some short example. Okay, in case of if it is written in the question that describe, okay, then you should have the thorough insight about the main characteristics of the topic. Okay, and you have to write particular characteristics of the topic also. Okay, and in case of elaborate, more and more details will be required. Okay, that is why I told ke itna bifurcation will be a little difficult. Okay, in define it is clear, in describe and elaborate, actually content will be limited and you have to write in very fast manner. So even if you are thinking very fast and doing very fast, the in the where you are doing typing very fast, it will be very difficult for you to. So define is clear. In describe and elaborate, you have to provide details as well. Okay, like in explain. Okay, um, you have to just mainly clarify the topic. Okay, that if some you know that much in that, like when answering such a question, it is helps to imagine you are writing to someone who knows absolutely nothing about the subject. Okay, so any technical term if you are using, you have to explain that term also. So it is explained. In case of examine, uh, in a case of examine, you can assume that examiner knows something about the issue. Okay, and you have to give him more details perspective about the topic. Okay, in case of comment, you have to keep in mind that you need to frame your opinion. It may be negative or positive, and accordingly you have to conclude your answer. Okay, in case of enumerate, it is very simple. I think the simplest, you have to write a point wise answer, and it will be better if you write 1 2 3 4. Okay, in case of illustrate also, it is very easy that you have to write examples, as much your examples as you know. Okay, in case of evaluate or analyze, you have to give pros and cons of the topic, and you can write more about something. Like if you know you are in the favor of pros, then you may write more about pros, and if you are in the favor of cons, then you can write more about cons. But you have to give both the things. Okay, and in case of critically evaluate, it is important thing, and you have to focus on this, because बाकी के जो पहले वाले टॉपिक्स थे, दे आर related and something आगे पीछे ही थे, but critically evaluate is a different thing. You have to write pros and cons and write negatives more than positives. Okay, so it is critically evaluate. It is clear. It is clear. Critically evaluate is clear. Comment is clear. And define is clear. बाकी के आगे पीछे आपस में related है. Explain में we have to assume that the person knows nothing about the topic. In examine, but in practical terms, when you are writing the question answer na, in 99% cases you write whatever you know. Okay, and do not dwell much about the things that okay explain or examine or something like that. So just In case of critically evaluate, you need to be particularly precise that you are writing more negatives. Okay. And in case of clarify or elucidate, just uh, more clarification is required. Okay. Just simplify the topic and write your answer. Okay. That's the main structure about the topic. And main thing is focus on structure and note down the things which you know that you will be writing in the answers. Okay, facts, figures, reports. Okay, it will make your answer, like, first impression will be very good. Sorry, very good if you are able to write any particular fact in the introduction, and thereafter the structure will matter, because it is not possible for the examiner to read it line by line. And secondly, I don't know whether grammar or your language is considered too much in this descriptive part. No doubt it is important for essay, letter writing, and other things. But in this part, mostly your content and structure will matter. Okay. So that's it for today's lecture. Anyone of you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay. Should we close it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Bye. Welcome.